What's up, guys? Welcome to Freewill. This is Tony Scardino. Hope everyone's week was good. I ended up going on the Fresh and Fit podcast again last Friday with Zerka, which is probably one of the most aggressive red pills. I thought the episode went pretty well. I more enjoyed myself. You have to just enjoy these moments. If you want to sit down with three men telling you how you're not going to get married in a few years, you just got to do it and laugh, you know what I mean? And I enjoyed myself this time, I will say. Going away from that, I am on the couch. Usually I'm on the desk. I'm on the couch. And that means I'm getting better at technology. So let's get started. This week, we are going to talk about intuition. All right. Everyone knows what intuition means. You have that little voice in your head. You have that gut feeling. It's something's going on there where it's like if you really listen, there's a voice. You have a voice inside of your head. When you think about it, when you really just think about it, deep down, that voice is always right. It's always the moral answer. It's like it almost gives me that you have the devil angel vibes on your shoulders, and your intuition is always the angel telling you what to do in the back of your head. I'm gonna make a claim, and then I'm gonna have some backup, and then I'm gonna have some counter arguments. I'm gonna answer to those. My claim is free will is to choose to follow your intuition, and that is literally the concept. Free will, how you achieve free will is by following your intuition. It was your plan to come here. So when we talk about certain ideas and I say that you made a plan to come here, that you're on this earth for lessons and experiences to achieve a higher consciousness. So you came with a plan and you decided what marbles, that's what my girl Dolores Cannon, she calls them marbles, what marbles of lessons you want to learn. How many marbles are you going to put on your plate before you go down to earth and you tackle those lessons and experiences? And you have to keep learning to reach closer and closer. So free will is to follow your intuition, and that is because your higher self is guiding you. Tony, how? Okay, what do you mean? Where are you going here? Think about it this way. Let's just think about life as a movie. Think about it as a dream state. Since it's a movie, that means there's no really concept of time. You know there's a beginning and you know there's an end. You in the present, right now, can look back at yourself in the past, correct? So you in the future can look back at yourself in the present. If time is not a concept, what is your future self? Where are you going with this? Your future self is your higher self. Your higher self is your intuition. Don't stop here. I got my backup now. Neuroscientists, they don't believe in free will. And that's because what a neuroscientist will tell you is the more and more you study the brain, the more and more you realize that free will doesn't exist. And this is why they think this. The brain starts doing stuff before you are really conscious of your choice. So they have a set of studies in the 1980s. They found a readiness potential, a rise in electrical activity in the brain before the participants were aware of their decision to move their arm. Before I decide to move my arm like this, my brain decided I was going to do that before I was conscious that I was going to do that. Your brain is taking action before you consciously participated in that decision. So that right there is what convinces neuroscientists that there's no such thing as free will, is they see the fact, okay, your brain is taking action before you consciously participated in the decision. That means you're not even making the decision. Something in the environment is already leading you to that decision. And that's where they bring in behavioral science. And that is correct, because in behavioral science, you're surrounded by the environment influence. That is correct. But You planned that already. And that's where we're going to go into intuition. Okay? We know Tony's claim. We know what the neuroscientist is saying. Let's talk about personal experience. When do you ignore your intuition? You often hear that little voice in situations where we don't want to listen. In partnerships, jobs, disaster, when you feel secure in something, that little voice usually starts popping up and you don't want to hear it. It's one of those things where you just know. We all know we get that feeling where it's your intuition, it's that voice in the back of your head, and you just know. You can't explain why, you just know. It's a gut feeling. Let's talk about fear versus intuition. How do you distinguish fear, oh, I'm fearful of something, or your intuition, little voice? Think of it as this. How do you distinguish fear and intuition? You could be like, oh, well, Tony, that's not your intuition. You're just fearful. It's a reaction. It's a bodily reaction. It's an emotion. Intuition is an emotion. Okay. Let's distinguish fear and intuition. Fear, for example, when you have that bad thought, like when you enter the car, you might get into an accident or something. How do you distinguish if that's fear or if that's intuition? Because if it was fear, you're just being you're thinking about things that scare you and not going to happen. If it was intuition, you'd probably say, okay, wait a minute. I know something bad's going to happen here. It's my intuition. So fear is a scrambled thought. Think of it as in front of your head. Fear is going on right here in the front of your head. It's scrambling all over the place. Your intuition goes right to the back of your head. It's like, that's what I was trying to say. It's almost like the angelic shoulder where the angel is, kind of telling you something. It's in the back of your head telling you. Fun fact, in certain meditation practices, they call this area in the back of your head the mouth of God. The atlas bone, which is right here, the top of the spine, is nicknamed the mouth of God. Counter argument. Intuition is dependent on your ego. So basically, people who don't believe in free will, they'll say your intuition is your ego. It's behavioral. Your ego comes from behavioral science. So what they mean by that, by your intuition being dependent on your ego, is they're saying that your intuition is an experience, and how you communicate it is based on who you are, your beliefs, your values. So again, behavioral science, the environment around us, you have beliefs, values, who you are, that creates your ego, and your ego creates your intuition. So these are the non-free will people, the non-free willers. Well, let me tell you, here's my response to that counter. There is a difference between your ego and your higher self. So I made the claim that your higher self is your intuition, correct? The non-free willers, they're making a claim that your intuition is dependent on your ego. Here are the differences between your ego and your higher self. Your ego seeks outward recognition. Your higher self seeks inner authenticity. Your ego loves to complain. Your higher self practices gratitude. Your ego does things only for the approval of others. Your higher self does things to please one's own higher consciousness. Your ego sees life as a competition. Your higher self sees life as a gift. Your ego enjoys the prize. Your higher self enjoys the journey. Your ego stresses and worries about the future. Your higher self is relaxed and trusting in the divine. Your ego is drawn to lust. Your higher self is drawn to love. Your ego thinks they know it all, and your higher self is open to feedback. Your ego loves to play victim and blame others. Your higher self takes responsibility for creating one's experience. So, I ask you, do you think your intuition sounds more like it's dependent off your ego, or more like it's dependent off your higher self? Remember, Your higher self is guiding you, and you have a plan. That little voice is always right. Science isn't wrong. Spirituality isn't wrong. You just have to connect them. There's two different definitions. Your intuition is a result of data being processed at a much faster rate than the conscious mind can comprehend. Your intuition is the influence of the non-conscious emotional info on the state of inner knowing. They're the same definition, just a different type of brain is saying it. Why is it so easy for people to believe the science and the chemicals, but it's not easy for people to believe the purpose and the meaning? The way our physical body, the chemicals do connect with our spiritual purpose is beautiful. In your brain, it's located on the right side of your brain and the hippocampus. Your heart, there are 40,000 inner cardiac neurons send emotional signals through the nervous system. And then there are 100 million neurons that modulate the core sense of self. So this is what they call the gut brain. So your stomach. So you have heart, brain, stomach. Stomach is the instinctual direct feedback of your intuition. You have that gut feeling. Your intuition is quite literally connected to your brain, heart, and stomach. Now, how can we get more in touch with our intuition? How am I really guiding myself if I feel like I don't even hear my intuition that much? Our low vibrational energy separates us from our connection with our intuition. Think of it this way. This is called the law of vibration. Your intuition is always talking to you. What is the law of vibration? It is the dominant emotion that we are feeling on a day-to-day basis is the frequency that we radiate at. So going back to again, we are energy beings. We are operating on frequencies and on vibrations. When we feel certain emotions daily, we are operating on those frequencies. Picture a chart top to bottom. We have high frequency, low frequency emotions. The high frequency emotions are love, peace, joy, gratitude, kindness. Then it starts getting into the middle of hope, contentment, indifference. Then it starts getting worse to the low frequency, worry, jealousy, anger, despair, guilt, hatred, fear. So if you are operating on low vibrations, if you're feeling these emotions of fear, hatred, guilt, despair, anger, jealousy, worry, you are operating on a low vibration. That is a law of vibration. So in order to get more in touch with your intuition is up at those high vibrations. It's up at the peace, love, and joy, gratitude. Raise your vibration to talk more to it. The more you raise your vibration, the more you'll hear it. See what I'm saying? The more and more you come closer to your higher self. And this is something that now me and both the neuroscientists can agree on. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. You're here for a reason. You serve a purpose. Your intuition is there to guide you. Society has been distracting you. Is your intuition really dependent on your ego, or is it dependent on the higher self? Is it dependent on complaints, victimization, lust, worry, prize, competition, approval? Or is your intuition gratitude, oneness, gift, journey, trusting, divine, love, responsibility? Which one does it sound like to you? And which one do you want to listen to? Because now that's where free will comes in. Is now that you know the distinction between the two, which one would you rather listen to? Your higher self is guiding you. Trust it. Trust yourself. So when you start trusting yourself, you can start trusting others. Making it a quick one, intuition is a huge concept to think about. It'll help you immensely in life. So I'm going to end it off there. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I love you. Source loves you. Your neighbor loves you. You can find me on every platform at official Tony Scardino. I'll catch you guys